Now, you guys have told us that one of your favourite things to see on this show is when we show you how to do something for nothing. So, for my next build, I'm doing exactly that. And it all starts under this house, or under your house maybe, with the timber that you can find laying around. And as luck would have it, mine's at the bottom of this pile. All right, the idea is to make a dining table. The top will be out of these beautiful old recycled fence palings, and the frame is going to be nice and bulky using this old hardwood timber. If you're lucky enough to have some lying around your house, that's great. Otherwise, you can ask your friends and family. They might have some, and you'll be doing them a favour, taking it off their hands. Or you could check around at a local council clean-up. Now, the first step I'm going to be doing is using a belt sander to clean these old palings up and cut them to size. Now, you could use a planer to dress up these old palings, but what that would do is shave the timber from the start, so you just get this clean look like this old bit of hardwood from the start. Instead, I'm using the belt sander with 60 grit paper on it, which allows me still to take off enough of the old weathered timber, but keep that character that we're after. Now, I want to try and keep the natural look of these fence palings, so I'm keeping this chamfered edge and I'm just measuring my 800 from there. But you'll see, on the side that was near the ground, it's all rotted out. So what I'm doing is measuring 800 again, and that gets rid of that bit and just recreating that chamfered edge by cutting 45-degree angles on each side. All right, that's everything cut up. Now it's time to start assembling the table. Now, to get the size of our 6-seater table, if I just used a paling, we weren't going to get the length that we needed, because obviously I need to cut out this rotten bit. So what I've decided to do is put one this way, one here, and leave a gap in the middle. And what I'm doing with that gap is I'll run 2 boards in the opposite direction. That way, we get the length that we need. And as you can see, sometimes the old timber is the best timber. Look at this character. It's fantastic. Now, because we're using hardwood to make this table, it's going to be pretty heavy. So to fix that, we're making it in 2 sections. I'm going to have the tabletop, and then I'm going to make the frame. That way, if you ever need to move it around, it's nice and easy to do. But the other benefit is because we're making it with these slats, you can see that we've got our fixings underneath. That way, when you're sitting at the table, you will see this. And it's just nice and plain, no fixings, and all just character. How good is that? All right, so now I'm ready to start making the frame, and as you know, I'm using this old hardwood. If I've got any tips for you, it's to make sure that you use sharp blades when you're working with this timber, because it's been air drying for decades, so it's as hard as steel. It is rough sawn, which means you can get different thicknesses along the length. To correct that, I'm just doing checkouts wherever I put my cross pieces, which will give me a nice fixing point. And for the legs, I'm just doing a checkout at the top. That way, it will just fit snugly over this frame, and I'll put a couple of bolts through and they'll make it nice and strong. At least I'm making someone laugh today. All right, the frame's complete. Now I can bring the 2 together. You'll see that I've just made checkouts here, and that's because I'm not actually screwing down this tabletop. I'm using these 2 battens as a guide to interlock into our table frame, which will hold everything together nice and snugly. You can see how much character this tabletop has, and that's why it's very important, the finish that we use. For that, I'm going for a 3-step finish. I'm starting with a proof seal, which is going to give us a uniform finish, so we won't end up with a blotchy end result. And also, it traps in the natural oils and tannins. And the second step is to apply the oil, which is great for rejuvenating old timber, which is what these old fence palings are. Now, I'm using some steel wool to put it on because the sealer raises the surface, and applying it with steel wool allows you to cut it back and gives you a smooth finish. And the third and final step is to apply the wax, which basically brings this timber back to its natural beauty whilst giving it maximum protection. And the good thing about wax is you can choose to buff it as much as you like. The more you buff it, the more sheen you're going to get. What do you think? How good has this dining table turned out? Now, using these old fence palings is definitely not a second option. I mean, these probably would have ended up as kindling for a fire, but you can see you end up with this beautiful, beautiful dining table. Now, we've gone for a more simple look with these straight lines, but you can definitely use patterns if you like. I have before done herringbone and brick pattern, but I'll tell you what, with a table like this, it is going to last generations. This has to be the best upcycling I know of.